Go now to dryerbuzz.com and follow at dryerbuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.
Hey guys, I'm recording this one on a Saturday morning. This is going to be just a quick talk about how to get out of bed because as I hit the start button, I just realized I should be doing buzz it or bash it. I'm in the kitchen and I'm going to reach for a couple of things here as we work and try to work through this conversation. I don't have a journal handy and I do need to do a word cloud. I'm gonna have to grab some water. Hopefully I don't snatch the phone down. Thank God it's not a burn day. For those of you that have been catching these or following along, you know what a burn day is. A burn day means we can't get out of bed, we can't do anything. But I have a commitment and I'm going to try and live up to that commitment. So I have to be across town in about an hour and a half or so. And going to talk about live streaming, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm live streaming a version of something that's going to turn into a podcast of today's episode, the podcast of how to get out of bed. Sounds like I got a little bit of energy. Sounds like I got a little bit of focus. Ooh, let's go with that. Sounds like I got a little bit of few goals in mind. Just jumped out of a quick conversation. I had to post some things last night. I was like, girl, if you don't put this phone down, you're not going to get the required hours of sleep that you need in order to go and take the task on in the morning. And then I would have awakened with all my good excuses, or looking for some excuses. I don't guess I can put this in the microwave while we're talking. I guess I can, because that beep beep means we're gonna need to end this, but that's only gonna take a minute or so. So let me stop for a second as I look at the clock and I'm thinking, I think I can talk for a minute or so, because I have to do another podcast and I have to get dressed enough. And while I worked wardrobe through my head yesterday, it turns out I got a text this morning that, you could dress it down a little bit, but I know it's not necessarily dress it down. They just want to do something on the denim, and you know what? I don't have denim like that. I gotta think what I have in there as far as some denim. But anyway, so I'm going to be doing a talk this morning about content marketing, which is actually good because it's in the line of some visibility I want to bring right now. So all of those key pieces, puzzle pieces, and all those pieces are going to play into this if all goes well. But I'm so thankful that I woke up feeling quite motivated, got over yet another hurdle, put out another fire. You listen, these things are real. Remember I talked about fear, how people have constantly gone around telling folk that fear is false evidence, and I'm telling you, honey, fear is factual evidence. Something you've either experienced or you've seen others experience, and a lot of us operate on fear. Many of us, in fact, I would believe most of us operate on fear, or to that degree, some types of shame. Somebody asked my opinion on stuff, as people often do, and we were talking about selling, and I said, a lot of times people try to come up with their selling point based on a shame point, right? Something that a person should be ashamed of, and that just ain't really worked. It has worked to some degree, but you know what happens is people end up with a lot of buyer's remorse. But then once people got your money, they don't care especially if they got a no refund policy. They don't care if you got remorse. They not dealing with that. You can feel as much remorse as you want, as long as you read that large print, not fine print. Because in the fine print, it's telling you how to get around the no refund, right? The fine print tells you, because like here in this industry, I have to deal with a lot of vendors and so forth, and there are these vendors now, they so quick to push this contract or sign this or agree to this, agree to that, and they're usually the ones that let it down. I could take a whole lot of contracts and be like, look, no, hold up to this. So anyway, where was I going? It's because I get to thinking about where I could go, and I'm like, no, it's too many people. It's too many people impacted. Like there's half the stuff I can't even go and post on social media because I'm like, well, I can't even state and most of the stuff that I post is like I'm just literally stating the obvious. We're at a point right now we can't even state the obvious because there's so many people caught up in it. There's so many people dealing with it and so forth. Yesterday, I literally heard a commercial, y'all. This was a full on. Can I tell you? It was a, I was like, what is this? I thought maybe it was an interview. No, it was a commercial. It was a car commercial, a car place where the person who was buying the car at this high risk auto place that people only go when they are at risk because no one at, I'm just, see, I can't even state the obvious because there's so many people impacted by it. But this one place, this commercial said the person in the commercial is trying to sound all dignified, said they were a pastor going in to use this particular service, and that's supposed to let us know that they serve everybody and that everybody can be hit with problems. Now, I'm not saying everybody don't get hit with problems, but I mean the leader of the flock is like, wait a minute, you gonna usher all of your congregants, all those who follow your lead to go over into. Now I understand it's a solution because some people need to be riding. Sometimes, I don't know. It's, again, I can't state the obvious because so many people are impacted by this stuff. But the commercial, the person sounding all, and I was about to say first lady-ish, but then it was like, wait, because I was like, she sound all first lady-ish, because they talk, they have a certain way that they speak, right? You could just see the hat through the radio, right? And I'm listening, and she goes on talking. I'm like, but wait, because we all, and because shout out to those who ain't. Breaking the taking from the congregants because she had financial issues, but she said pastor, and she was going over here to purchase this car and letting everybody know, hey, she had her own issues, but I'm like, okay, go ahead, pastor, handle your things because get your congregants up so that you can fix this stuff. But it's so much of us. You are not alone. We are not alone in this. We are not alone in this. I was telling a young man the other day he was spending so much money in ride share, and I said, well, that there are now these new different services, other services, the shuttles and things like that are coming to the community because the community is just bustling with all this new business development, economic development, and so one of the things they had to add with this shuttle services because they didn't want a bus service, but they like, wait, we got to be able to shuttle people around because in order to get X business, A business, Z business, they're like, wait, you got to have a certain amount of infrastructure for them in order to bring these billions of dollars into your community. And they were like, well, the residents out here like living out here. They don't want that city life. And so they found a way. So this young man was paying googobs, isn't that a word? Googobs some money on ride share. And I'm like, that's got to be eating into his check. And then I said, have you checked out the shuttle service? He was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, there's a new shuttle service, because some of these companies have these kinds of demands on areas when they bring these businesses, and so therefore, that's gonna cut his transportation expenses probably, if not in half, to about a third. So, and I didn't do it, the same like you really ought to be riding the bus, No, it's not even about that. It's like, listen. Sometimes sometimes what you're going through or what you've been through, no matter how you feel about it, and especially, guess what? Especially if you are ashamed of it, because on the other side of that and on the flip side of that, and the voice you should have in your head is not that you should be shamed, because if there's anybody around you that's going to make you feel something, like I'm sitting there talking about the pastor, and I'm like, well, you know what? I can appreciate the fact that she's not fleecing her congregation and handling her own problems. Maybe she got a new church. I don't know. She said, oh, that's right. She said pastor, not bishop. Okay, I'm just saying. So, but instead of, because the voice in your head is making us feel ashamed of some of this stuff. Rick Ross, I heard Rick Ross say a word. He said humble. I'm just trying to be humble. I don't know if what he does in the very boisterous way that he speaks is humbling, but tell yourself, like, I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna say, I'm just trying to be humble. But we all go through some things. As I need to hit the stop button, y'all, and look like we did reach about 10 minutes, but we all need to tell yourself you're just being humble. I mean, try it, start it, you'll convince yourself. And guess what? You'll begin to convince others. If you feel like you can't talk about where you've been because you're ashamed of it, let me tell you, humble yourself. Because just talking about it and speaking out loud, stating the obvious can help somebody else. It can help somebody else. Now, that right there, that's a level of service that if we could all get to that, and we're not all going to get to it. But if just one person, literally, hear me when I say this. If just one person heard me just say that, turn your shame, humble yourself into being humbly and humbly tell somebody what you've been through. Even if you tell the wrong person, the right person is going to witness their reaction, because if they don't even act right after they get a little tidbit of what you've been through, and they want to run and tell the masses it ain't what it seemed over there, that's all right. Because listen, the right person is going to witness that. And in the fact that they don't want to see you being done wrong, they're going to bless you. But guess what? As long as you keep it bottled in, as long as you keep waking up each and every day suppressing it, as long as you keep putting on that mask, as long as you keep putting all this stuff on top of it, nobody can really see where you are, and nobody can reach in and help and pull you out. That's the nature of this thing. That is the nature of this thing. Yes, it's some downright dirty people around us. But you get beyond them when you start walking in your truth. You start living in your truth. I'm telling you, people who think you got this and got that will try to attach themselves based on the clout or the influence that they think they can have. That's okay. Because pretty soon you're going to recognize this ain't good for me. And you're going to recognize that there are some who are who probably are genuine. Because keep in mind, they got their own influences that they trying to put on this farce for, and these masks and all that stuff, right? But then they might realize that, wait a minute, y'all both might realize that we're genuine. Let's just go on the road. I'm telling you, y'all, this life of ours, it is highly interesting. It is something else. And all you got to do is live long enough. And I know it's a lot that make you go like, wow, what's going on here? What's going on with my life? Stop. You're looking out the wrong window. You're looking at it through the wrong lens. If you take something that ain't happened to you, that's not happening around you, and you internalize it, and I know that's easy because you got the television, you got the people on the podcast, you got people all down the timeline. Stop internalizing that stuff. Sometimes I have to tell myself. Sometimes I have to stop and tell myself. And I'm telling you, I can name drop, and I've had all kind of amazing opportunities. I got a great opportunity just today. But I still have to stop and humble myself and realize, listen, there's even some things that I am neglecting. There's even some things I had to step away from a whole lot of quote unquote clout at a time to do some things that most people don't do. And can I tell y'all, I make sure that in each of my days, even in my down days, my burn days, I make sure that there is something that I am absolutely doing that everybody else is not doing. Sometimes I may come on here and I may have the most unpopular opinion, but still, it's what I believe, and I'm not afraid of what I believe. And I'm not afraid of learning something new or different or listening or hearing or seeing the other side. And I'm like, well, it's a lot of them believe that. And that the pack is usually, I like the uniqueness of it all. I like that 1%. I like that 30%. I'm like, if I end up in the 60%, I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, let me think what's going on here. Because it's real comfortable in the back. It's real comfortable in the pack. It's real comfortable in what everybody is doing and what everybody else is. And I'm like, and there are people like, wait, they like, why do you think that? It's like, because I think different. And it's okay that I think different. And because one thing that I have realized is I will arrive to a conclusion a whole lot faster than others. And all I have to do is wait. Because you might not believe it now, come now, and I'm not waiting for you to. But I do know that there's some things that I posted a decade ago that people are running around here absolutely buying into right now, but call me crazy, okay? So you got to know who you are. You have got to know who you are. And it's okay if it's different. It's okay if it's different, y'all. I promise you it's okay. All right, on that note, at about, right at 15, let me go and hit the stop button. But before I do that, let me tell you, I got some support on this thing, right? I keep trying to figure out where it goes. There it is right there, Natural Soap by Zakia. Go to Natural. Let me put that up there too. Let me get that on the screen if I can remember how to do. Oh, I got too much stuff going on, y'all. Natural Soap by Zakia. You guys have seen the soap. We got our box in right now. And I'm looking. I still got 3 bars over here. We've got some simple. I've got. Oh, I think I'm going to use my whip soap today. I think I will use the whip soap, and I think the whip soap was either a raspberry. Was it? I do have a luscious lemon sample. I do have a luscious lemon sample. I do also have the bubble crumble, but I got to take a quick shower, so I can't do the bubble crumble. I think I'm going to use the whip soap. I think I will use the whip soap because I'm at the end of the green apple. I think that's green apple I have. Let me see. Let me tell you what I have over here before I get out of here. I have still got my peppermint soap. I've got the mango mania, and then I've got cherry almond that are not open yet. So thanks a lot to Natural Soap by Zakia. Listen, I need you to do a couple things, and you're going to hear those couple things in just a second. But go to dryerbuzz.com. Okay, somebody's talking about parking, and parking is so important when you have to go to an event. Let me tell you, go to dryerbuzz.com. It's going to ask you for your email address. That's what you need to subscribe. You need to subscribe because Dryerbuzz right now is the best email newsletter, y'all. People trying to figure out what's going on. Where's all this stuff going? Back to email. I'm gonna tell you back to email. I was talking with a gentleman just yesterday, and in the conversation, I swear to you, he got an email. He literally got an email, and it said that he. It was so funny the way they worded the email. This was a company. He had recently had a hotel stay, and the hotel was notifying him that his data had been compromised. And it was so nicely the way they worded it. They said there was an issue with a vendor who and literally how I read it, and I'm not going verbatim, I'm paraphrasing. It said they had an issue with a vendor they were transferring information back and forth, and this particular vendor had saved a particular database on a server that had been compromised, and that meant that their wonderful customers who had recently booked a stay, including you, is what it said, that your data had been compromised, and it was hundreds of thousands of people in this thing that they had to send this email out to, hundreds of thousands of people. So I was like, you know what? If cities are having these problems, because I'm gonna tell you, I had the problems too. Because you don't maintain a website and a database for 17 years, and I have these problems. And I had these problems a couple of years ago, and I said, well, you know what? Let's wait. Let's bring this thing down. Let's figure out where this thing is going until we can be assured. Because I don't have time. I especially at that time with all that I was going through, I didn't have time to be sitting with developers and trying to keep up with updating all this stuff. Because every day there's a new update comes out, trying to protect our information. And so I said, you know what, let me know. Here's what I know. Here's what I know about security. Some of the most secure things on here is email. And I said, well, you know what? Let me do this. Let me put the database somewhere safe, which is what I literally said to GoDaddy, and they failed in that. And that was one of the things I was like, if GoDaddy is failing in this thing, I don't want no part of it. I don't want no part of it. I don't. So what we have done, what we do now is because we have so much content out there in so many different places, we just like to keep you up to date with what we have loaded where. And so if you subscribe, go to dryerbuzz.com. You're going to see it says give us your email list, and then you can scroll down. You can go to a couple links if you want to follow us here, follow us there, or check this out or check that out in the kitchen and all those kinds of things. You can go there to Dryerbuzz, and it'll direct you to all those places. But there still is that one place that you will always find us, never lose contact, and that is at Dryerbuzz. And if you, particularly if you were looking for something, it's real easy. It's easy to search your email than it is the entire internet. Okay, for what we do, because we do a lot. And we do a lot, and keep in mind this is a family business, and so we cover so much. And people used to go to the website all the time, and it was like, oh my God, it's so much, and I'm like, and I understand. I understand, but at the time when we came along, there were just a few of us, and so there was a lot of information we had to do. Right now, we can refine our editorial a little bit. Like each day how to get out of bed is a daily podcast. I'm telling you to go to Dryer Bus without you even seeing it on the screen. Um, we have the daily podcast of how to get out of bed. On Tuesdays, we have Leading Women podcast, which is absolutely awesome and amazing with myself and my co-host Angela Stalkups. On Saturday, if I wasn't rolling out to talk about live streaming, I will give you an episode of Buzz It or Bash It, which I will give you later on today. Buzz It or Bash It, we're going to talk about things that had us trolling and scrolling and trolling. We're going to talk about those topics in a podcast that you can find on the podcast Buzz It or Bash It, which you can find any and all episodes in your email if you go and subscribe to at dryerbus.com. And then as soon as the temperature drops a little bit more, we'll be back into the kitchen. For a great live episode. And then there's also a food podcast. I do a food podcast kind of after each episode, or if not before, talking about what that episode was and what my breakdown point was, what my meltdown, and all those kind of things, and learning how to do more things, especially healthy things in the kitchen. And I think that's pretty right now. I think for as we count down to 2020, our focus is on podcasting, which we have done since about, I think, the first easy podcast, because before that we had full on radio online. But the podcast, there's a dog and people getting excited. There is the podcast. I think about 2007 was when we started podcasting, and then of course came live streaming, which we're gonna go talk about today. Look for the hashtag livestream101. If you cannot be in the building, they do have online tickets for that. If you're listening to the live version, or even afterwards, I think the recording will be available, and they will have these continuously. And I may do some other things with them. I think this is the second one I'm doing with them. And on that note, I do need to get across town. So thank you guys so much for listening. I hope I have gotten you out of bed. You definitely got me out of bed. And the dog is like, wait, you getting ready to go somewhere? Some things got to be done. All right, so let me do this. Do me one more favor, guys. Hold on.
Go now to dryerbuzz.com and follow at DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.